Hi everyone, this is Ofer. In this video, I'm going to attempt to bring some clarity into some attributes that are set on the CI and on the assets. I will specifically focus on the roles fields that are the source of confusion for many users. These fields are synced between assets and CI and vice versa, and also between the technical service offering and the CI. And I'll demonstrate it in the latter part of this video. This slide summarizes those fields. You can see that we're looking at asset fields and CI fields. There's a description and a true false to indicate if they're synced between assets and CIs. And then there is a group/person field that indicate what this field contains. And the last column shows that we're able to override some of the fields using the technical service offering. And again, I'll demonstrate it later on. I'll now go over the rows. So the rows in reds are essentially the rows that are asset type rows. It's important to note that not all the fields have to be populated. Some organizations choose to populate all the fields and some choose to populate some of the fields. The assigned to field is one of the more important fields. It's indicating that a computer or an asset is being assigned to a user, and that field is being synced with the CI, of course. The managed by field is the person who maintains the asset, and it can be the same or different than the owner. The owned by is the person who has financial ownership of the asset. The supported by is the person who is handling incidents regarding the asset, and the support group is the incident assignment group. The field in black are fields that are available only on CIs. The managed by group is the group that manages the configuration item. This group manages the attestation and certification tasks, and I have a separate video that describes those attestation and certification activities. The next group is the assignment group. The assignment group has a different label that indicates what it's actually doing, so it is the change group. So it's the group that handles all the change implementations. The last group is the approval group, who handles all the change approvals. Next, I will show you a side-by-side view of assets and CIs. On the left, you can see the assets, and it has the associated CI on the right. To make things simpler, I will switch the view to the agent workspace view, which will allow us to see how these fields are synced between asset and CI and vice versa. These fields, again, are the assigned to field, the managed by, the owned by, the supported by, and the support group. I will now switch all the fields to the same value. In this case, is Jessica, just so we'll be able to see the syncing mechanism a little bit easier. I will now switch to the contracts tab of the asset record to set up the supported by and the support group fields. Notice the support group field is the knowledge bases stakeholder. I will now save the asset record, which will kick in a business rule that will sync the fields automatically. So the fields that are synced are assigned to, managed by, owned by, supported by, and of course, the support group. I will now refresh the page for the CI record and do the same exercise the other way around. I'll set the fields on the CI record, and we'll see how it syncs to the asset record. So in this case, I choose a different support group, which is the collection services team. And then I set the user to Sam. I will now save the CI form, which will sync the values back to the asset form. So we can see a business rule synced all the values for the general tab and the contracts tab, which concludes this part of the video about two-way syncing between assets and CIs for role type fields. Let's focus on the fields that exist only on the CI record. We have the managed by group, the change group, the approval group, and we'll see that by default, the managed by group is set at the CI class level. So to see that, I'm going to bring the CI class manager and open the computer class, and I will change the value of the managed by group from help desk to the collaboration services team. Now we save the basic information on the CI class manager, and we'll see that the CI record managed by group has been updated after a short period of time. The next step is to see how the fields in technical service offerings are synced with the CI record. So in order to create a technical service offering, we'll first need to create a CMDB group, followed by a dynamic CI group. Here, I'm creating a CMDB group called CMDB group roles, and then I define the query, the encoded query. In this case, I'm going to use a simple encoded query that doesn't really make sense in general, but it makes sense for this demo. So I'm just going to choose the computer class, and then I'm going to select a query which is based on the create date. So I'm just going to list all the CIs that have been created in the past month. We'll see that this query results in 2 computer CI records that have been created in the last month. Next, for the purpose of demonstration, I'm just going to add additional CI manually. So I'm going to select a filter which will list all the computer CIs that we have in the CMDB, and I'll choose a record at random. So I'm going to run the filter, and I'm going to choose the first record, and I'm going to add it to the CMDB group. So after saving and exiting, we'll see that we'll have 3 records in the CMDB group, 2 that are the result of the encoded query, and 1 that is the result of adding a CI manually. Now we're ready to create the dynamic CI group, which will include the CMDB group with the results that we have here. So we'll go ahead and go to the dynamic CI group and create a new record. We'll call it DCG roles, and we'll add the CMDB group query. We'll save the record and examine the results of the dynamic CI group. But before that, it's really important to set the service classification to technical service. If you don't set it to technical service, the syncing mechanism will not work. So we're seeing that we're getting the correct information. Now we're ready to create the technical service, which will link the technical service offering and the dynamic CI group that we've just created. So we'll create a new record in the technical services, and we'll call it TS roles, submit it. Just verify that we don't have it connected to any offerings. So let's go ahead and create a new offerings. So the new record, will name it TSO roles. And as the parent, we'll select the technical service that we've just created, the TS roles. And we'll ensure that, again, the service classification is technical service. Now we'll add a relationship. The relationship we'll have is contains. And we'll choose the dynamic CI group roles. We'll look at the relationship and the details, and we'll see that we have the 3 CIs, computer CIs, that we've included with the CMDB group. You'll notice that currently the CI is set up with the collaboration services team for the support group and the managed by group, and it's empty for the change group. So I'm going to change the support group and the change group to help desk, save the information, and it will sync the information for the support and change. Now I forgot to add the managed by group, so I'm going to quickly change from help desk, from empty to help desk in the managed by group, and it will sync automatically. This concludes the video about two-way syncing between assets and CI, and also explanation of how to sync fields between the technical service offering and the CI. Questions, comments, and suggestions are always welcome.